Imagiverse Studios presents Tales from the Horrorweb, an audio-only series based on the short stories by Gavin Pryor. Tonight's story is called Delivery. Erin's night shift at a pizza joint turns into a night terror when she delivers a pizza to a home. It was just another night at a local pizza joint owned by Erin's family. Erin was just sitting at a cashier's desk, looking at her yearbook. She is waiting for someone to come in or for the phone to ring. She has worked in delivery since she got a driver's permit when she was 16 years old. Whenever someone ordered their pizza, she would hop into her car, drive to their house, and deliver their pizza with their desired toppings. As she was still looking at her yearbook, her friends pulled up to the pizza joint in the car. The horn beep made Erin jump and look out the window to see Tony, Vivian, and Marcus hopping out of their vehicle and waving at her. Erin got up from her chair and walked outside to meet up with them. "I thought I had cabin fever for a minute there," Erin said. "How is your night shift going?" asked Vivian. "So far, no customers have come in just yet," said Erin. "Maybe they are heading to our competition." "I have no idea why," said Tony. "But maybe some people would rather order pizza at home. It's not like the other one is right next door to your pizza joint." "That night shift is getting on my nerves anyway," said Erin. "I've been talking to cardboard." "It's not every day you start talking to inanimate objects," said Vivian. "One time, I volunteered to work at a concession stand, and I was talking to a slushie dispenser. It was a great conversation we had together," said Marcus. "That's odd for you to do," said Vivian. "Our conversation ended when someone came up and ordered one slushie," said Marcus. "I'm sure you've made a good friend," said Erin. "Anyways, we thought we'd stop by and check in," said Tony. "It always gets dull on a late evening," said Erin. Erin and all her friends walked inside the pizza joint and sat at the table. "Okay," said Erin. "Anything you have planned for the weekend?" "I really need to take a break from this place. We haven't come up with everything just yet, but Tony is planning on doing game night if you would like to join in," said Vivian. "Sounds good," said Erin. "I'll think about it." Marcus said, "We could also head down to the movies this week." Vivian said, "I saw a film last week. Erin, would you like to see this movie with us?" Erin replied, "I actually never seen the film. Is it that scary?" "I didn't see it either," said Tony. "However, I have been hearing about it from a lot of people." "How about we both see it?" said Erin. "Great plan," Marcus said. "But right now, my night shift isn't over yet," said Erin. "I've got until midnight for my mom to come back." The phone began to ring, interrupting their conversation. Erin ran up to the counter and picked up the handle to answer the call. "Thank you for calling Pizza Eagle," said Erin. "Would you like to try our 2-for-1 special? Buy one pizza with your choice of toppings and get one more for half off." Her friends were talking at the table while Erin was taking the customer's order on the phone. "You know, I've had the thought of delivering the pizza with her," said Marcus. "What makes you say that?" Vivian asked. Marcus said, "Well, she might have been through a rough night shift, but at this point, we should probably help her out a bit." Tony said, "I don't know. We don't even work here." "We never helped her out before," said Vivian. "Usually, we just check in on her to see how she is doing at her job. And I am not sure that she might need our help for this. We didn't even apply for this job." "I know," said Marcus. "But it would be appreciated." "Yes," said Tony, "but we don't work here." "Technically," Marcus said, "it will only be a matter of time until we can give her a helping hand." said Vivian. But not when she is working. Erin hung up the phone and ran over to the serving window to place the order ticket. She ran up to the table to sit back down with her friends. Just got a call from a customer, said Erin. He ordered 2 pizzas for his family. His house is only a few miles away. Vivian said, Marcus was talking about helping you out. Well, said Erin, all of you can come with me if you like. Vivian said, really? I can deliver the pizza, said Marcus. I usually do that, said Erin. All right, said Vivian. If you would like us to go with you, we'll go with you. We start leaving when the pizzas are ready, said Erin. When the pizzas were done a few minutes later, Erin and her friends hopped in the car and began their drive. After 5 minutes have passed, they made it to the house where the customer had placed the order. Wait here in the car, said Erin. I will go and deliver these to them. I'll be back. Erin hopped out of her vehicle and grabbed her pizza bag. She walked up to the door and rang the doorbell. Strangely, she could not hear the doorbell. She waited for someone to answer the door. Erin rang the doorbell again to see if she could hear it. It still didn't work. What's going on? Said Erin. Maybe I should knock on the door to see if that works. Erin knocked on the door and waited for someone to answer. Erin said, Don't lose yourself, Erin. It's only a night shift, that's all. The door opened as Erin quickly looked to see who it was. Standing in front of the door was a boy. He was around 15 years old, with black hair, his bangs dyed purple, and blue eyes. He wears black Bluetooth headphones with a picture of a skull and red eyes on each side, a black hoodie, a gray shirt, jeans, and black and white checkered sneakers. Hello, sir, said Erin. Your pizzas are here. Jake said, Sorry if my parents couldn't answer the door. For some reason, they won't come to the door. Maybe they're still watching a movie we were watching. You're having a movie night? Said Erin. Yes, said Jake. Hey, wait a second. Haven't I seen you before? Erin was very surprised when she realized that it was her old friend, whom she met in middle school. Jake? Erin said. Erin, said Jake. It's nice to see you again after you moved on to high school. I thought you moved away. Erin said, Actually, I was in your high school, but I haven't seen you in a while. Who are your new friends? Said Jake. They're in the car right now, said Erin. Their names are Vivian, Tony, and Marcus. Can I meet them? Asked Jake. Sure, said Erin. I'll go get them. Erin walked over to the car to meet up with her friends. They got out of the car and walked with Erin back to the house. Nice to meet you 3, said Jake. You're her new friends, right? Yes, we've been partners in chemistry for 6 months, said Vivian. It's true, said Erin. I also got a sweet after-school job. I usually work for 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., but I got the midnight shift since the other one called in sick. That's really nice, said Jake. Come on in. I want to introduce your friends to my family. They went inside the house and into the living room, where they met up with his mother and father. Her sister was also in the room, sitting on the chair. Nice to meet you, Erin, said Arlene. And I see you met some new friends. Who are they? Mark asked. This is Vivian, Tony, and Marcus, said Erin. I've recently met them right now, said Jake. Erin met them on the first day of high school. I think they might be part of a chemistry class. Marcus said, Actually, we are her classmates. That's pretty interesting to know, said Mark. Do you go anywhere with them? Well, I sometimes do, but only at school, said Erin. This is the first time I am going with them. Interesting, said Arlene. Maybe we could set up a day where you and your friends could hang out. Maybe we could see a movie, said Jake. That's what I've actually planned for my friends. We are going to see a horror movie on Friday. Would you like to go with us? Said Erin. Sure thing, said Jake. Marcus noticed that Jake's sister was sitting down on a chair. She didn't say anything when she looked at her. Jake glanced at Marcus, who was looking at her sister. This is Lily, said Jake. She doesn't talk to us sometimes, but she does talk to her toys. Not sure why, but she thinks that these stuffed animals and dolls she's been talking to are her friends. I've seen this before, said Erin. She even talked with the plush whale I gave her as a gift. That was, of course, her birthday present, said Mark. As Lily got up the stairs and walked up to her room, Erin reached into her pizza bag and bought out the boxes full of pizza before she went to the dining room and placed them on the table. When she came back to the living room, Jake reached into his pocket and gave her the money to pay for the pizzas. Suddenly, the lights went out. Looks like we've blown a fuse again, said Arlene. Mark asked, Jake, can you go to the basement and fix the fuse box? I'm on it, said Jake. He went downstairs to the basement, where he took out his flashlight and turned it on. He walked over to the power box and flipped the switches on and off to fix the power. Unfortunately, it did not work. Jake went outside using the basement doors to see what was going on. Jake noticed that only their house's power was off, but everyone else's wasn't. He suddenly heard electric noises coming from the back of his house. He ran over to find that the electrical wire that was connected to their house had snapped and fallen to the ground. Arlene was looking out of the window to see it. Jake, get back inside. I'll go call the power company to get this fixed, Arlene said. I'll be right there, said Jake. Jake quickly ran to the front door and tried to open it, but for some reason, it was locked. Dad, the door is locked, said Jake. Mark got up from the couch and tried to unlock it, but the locking mechanism was stuck. I knew this would happen, said Mark. You go get Mr. Woodstock to see if he can unlock the door. I'm on it, said Jake. Jake ran down the street to get to Mr. Woodstock's house. Meanwhile, back in the living room, Erin was looking out of the window. Arlene said, I didn't want to tell this to you two, but ever since we moved into this house, strange things have been happening. It's something straight out of a horror film, said Mark. I've been seeing Lily's toys move on their own in her room. It's been happening on an occasional basis, said Arlene. It doesn't occur all the time. Mark said, Erin, get Lily over to the living room. We'll wait for you. Don't worry, said Erin. I'll make sure she is okay. Erin ran upstairs to her room and opens the door. To her surprise, she found herself back at the pizza joint. Erin became shocked, as if she were frozen in disbelief. What am I doing back here? Said Erin. Erin looked outside the window to see no cars or any sign of life anywhere. She ran over to the kitchen to see that there was no chefs working. Did I fire anyone? Said Erin. Erin heard a car horn in the distance, which nearly made her jump in fright. She ran outside to the parking lot to find her friend's car parked there. She walked over to look inside, only to find that no one was in her car. But in the back seat, she could see a doll with long brown hair wearing a denim jacket, a blue and green striped shirt, and jeans. It was staring at her as if it were watching her. Erin looked back at the pizza joint to find out it was gone. In its place was a pink and white mansion that was made of plastic. She slowly walked to it. She froze in place as the door opened. Standing in front of the door was the same doll as before. Behind her were two more dolls that looked exactly like her friends. She quickly ran only to trip to the ground. She found herself back at the house where she had come to deliver the pizza. She was in the living room, but her friends were not there. She got up from the ground and started to walk to the front door. When she opened the door, she walked to the porch to find that her house was floating in the sky. She looked down to find that the clouds were beneath it. Strangely, the clouds were red. Erin had no idea what was going on. She slowly went back into the house and went upstairs to Lily's room. When she opened the door and stepped inside, she found herself in her own room instead. She was both shocked and confused at the same time. She noticed a light coming out of one of the windows. She went over and looked outside to find that it was daytime. She saw a few people walking down the street and a few cars driving by her house. She looked back at her room. She found her pizza bag with boxes full of pizza inside. It was sitting there on her bed. She quickly went over and picked it up. Upon examining this, she noticed that one of the pizza boxes had a hole inside. She took the box out and looked inside to find a horde of spiders. She dropped the box in fright and ran downstairs, leaving the pizza bag behind. When she made it to the kitchen, she could see her mother cooking breakfast. She is frying some eggs and bacon on the stove. Erin felt a bit skeptical and walked over to the table. "I don't know what's happening here," said Erin. "Maybe I fell asleep at work or something." Erin looked at her mother, still frying the eggs and bacon on a pan. She didn't say a word at all. All she could say was nothing. Erin looked over at the table to see a doll sitting on a nearby chair. She quickly got up and walked over. When she tried to pick up the doll, it flew out of the chair and went out the kitchen window. The pan started to catch fire, but her mother didn't mind. Erin quickly ran over to her and grabbed her hand to rescue her. To her surprise, she was a doll too. She looked away from the doll to find that it was already dark outside. The lights were on in her home. She walked back to her room to find a couple of boxes that replaced her bed, desk, and nightstand. The only thing that was left unpacked was the radio. It was already playing music. Erin sat down on the floor and stared at the wall. She didn't want to come downstairs or even talk to anyone. She stayed there for 30 minutes before the music on the radio stopped. An announcement came on the radio. "We interrupt this broadcast for a local news update," the radio announcer said. "We have reports of electrical surges happening in one residence. There were at least 7 people in this home, according to local authorities. Although we have no confirmation of a haunting, we have heard theories that a strange..." The broadcast was cut off with static as Erin listened. She got up and tried to change the channels, hoping for a signal, but nothing seems to be working. Erin left the room to find herself back at the pizza joint. She noticed something different about this place. The windows were broken. The tables and stools became rusty. The walls and ceiling were covered in cobwebs, and the lights were flickering. A fog bank covered the entire building. Thankfully, she was able to see where she was going. She walked out of the pizza joint and walked down the street. The lamppost standing on the side of the sidewalk illuminated the way. The fog was making it hard to see for Erin, but the lights made it easier to see. She then saw the silhouette of what appeared to be Lily. She walked over to her to see what she was doing. The fog bank cleared up, and she found out that Lily was next to a chair with 3 dolls that looked like her friends. Erin stood frozen as Lily grabbed a chair, placed it next to the other chair, and sat down. "I knew that you would come, Erin," said Lily. "It's been a while since I needed a new friend to play with. It's nothing to be concerned about, really. What have you done to my friends? Erin asked. Isn't it obvious? Said Lily. This is my world. I get to make the rules and create them the way I like them. I do have a powerful imagination, after all. One day, you would congratulate me on this. It's great, said Erin. But where am I? This isn't the real world you used to live in, said Lily. But I can control it to whatever suits me. Lily vanished along with the dolls. She turned around and found herself in the parking lot again. The pizza joint she saw was back, where it had not been abandoned. She ran inside to find her friends sitting at the table looking at her. They didn't say a word. They just stared at her in silence. Did you hear what happened? Said Erin. I think I am in some sort of other world. Marcus was talking about helping you out, said Vivian. You said that before, said Erin. How are you bringing this up again? One time, I volunteered to work at a concession stand, and I was talking to a slushie dispenser, said Marcus. It was a great conversation we had together. I know that already, said Erin. Tell me what's going on. Things are starting to go wrong for me. We haven't come up with everything just yet, but Tony is planning on doing game night if you would like to join us, said Vivian. Vivian's voice suddenly changed into a more demonic-looking one.
Unless the dolls want to play something else, this night shift will never end,
said Vivian. Erin ran over to the kitchen to find the chefs turned into dolls. She even noticed that the stove was on fire. Erin quickly ran over to the stove to turn it off, but one of the dolls tackled her. Erin felt the force drag her down to the ground as more dolls tackled her. She squirmed to try to get them off, but they would not get off. Lily then walked over to her. Like I said Lily, I'm only in control of this world. But don't fret, it will all end soon. I'm almost done here anyway. Lily watched as the dolls tried to keep her still. Suddenly, Jake knocked on the kitchen door that led outside. Lily was surprised to see him run in like this. Jake quickly got the dolls off her one by one and got her up to save her. The dolls tried to run to catch the two, but they quickly went out of the kitchen and shut the door. Erin found herself in Jake's room. Jake walked with Erin and sat down on the bed. I didn't want you to find out about this, said Jake. We pretended that this house was haunted. My sister had gained some sort of power to make objects come alive. We don't know what it is, but the fact is, we have to leave this house. The dolls banged on the door as they were trying to get in. Erin and Jake hugged each other to the point that they were about to meet their fate. Erin noticed that the door was about to come off the hinges as it was starting to break away. Don't worry, said Jake. They will eventually stop. The door came off and fell to the floor. Jake and Erin braced themselves for what was about to happen next. But they looked at the door again to see that Lily was only standing in front of the doorway. I decided to let you go, Erin, said Lily. You were right. Maybe I've scared you long enough. Erin looked puzzled and got up from the bed to look out the window. She saw that the house was now standing in an empty field. She ran out of the room, passing Lily. She used the front door to get outside the house and walked down the field. She passed a few trees and saw a light in the distance. She quickly ran to it to see what it was. It took her 30 seconds before she realized that it was a mansion that she had seen earlier. The door had already been opened. She slowly walked inside to find that the walls had green and yellow wallpaper. The floor was covered with a red rug. She walked upstairs to a nearby room. When she opened the door, she saw that it looked like her room. She walked inside and sat down on her bed. She started to hear Lily's voice from outside. It's great to have you back home, said Lily. I'm not sure if you know this yet, but I have a bit of an explanation. I wanted you over so that you could become one of the dolls. This is no cause for alarm. Your friends are dolls too. But it's too bad I can't turn Jake into one of them. He's been nice to me, but sometimes he's a pain in the neck. Enjoy your stay. It may not last forever, as I would eventually give you another one. Erin suddenly woke up. She found herself in Jake's room again. A warm, wet cloth was placed on her forehead. She removed it and got up. Erin's mother was also there with Jake. Are you okay, Erin? Helga asked. I was getting sick. I thought you died out there. What happened? Said Erin. You just fell and had a nasty bump. You were only asleep for about an hour, Jake said. An hour? Erin said. That only felt like more than that. Well, that sometimes happens, Helga said. I'm just glad you're okay. And I do appreciate you filling in for Scott. I guess that night shift was such a nightmare, said Erin. I know, but it was fun that you got to see me again, said Jake. The lights turned back on in the house. There we go, said Jake. It looks like the power is back on again. That didn't take that long, said Helga. I know the electricity was off for like an hour, said Jake. Anyways, I think you've had enough for tonight. Are your friends driving you home? Yes, said Erin. I need to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow at lunch, said Jake. Erin rode home with her friends as she looked at the night sky. She thought of what she had seen in her dream. Could it all be true? Should she try to explain it? Right now, it only seemed fair to her that she couldn't tell anyone about this. Jake assured Erin that his parents made up the story to scare her, but they didn't mean any harm to her. When she got home, she found a doll waiting for her on the stairs. It was made to look like her.